and I'm still figuring it out. I still need the reminders of the things I discovered all the way back then. And, that brings up that imposter syndrome. I'm like, who am I? Like, I'm not even following my own advice every day. How terrible is that? And like working through those stories and just knowing that like that I'm still worthy of it and I still have a great message, and knowing that like doing it perfectly doesn't really help anyone.
Welcome to Story Power, a bi-monthly podcast where my guests and I chat about stories and creativity in all different styles and formats. My name is Lucinda Sage-Midgorden, and my goal is to promote what Dale Carnegie stated in his famous book, How to Win Friends and Influence People. He said, instead of condemning people, let's try to understand them. Let's try to figure out why they do what they do. That's a lot more profitable and intriguing than criticism, and it breeds sympathy, tolerance, and kindness. To know all is to forgive all. It's my firm belief that the goal of most creative people is to try to understand themselves and others. That's what makes artwork of all kinds so compelling. But more than that, the personal stories of my guests promote understanding as well. Roger C. Schenck, a cognitive scientist, said, human beings are not ideally set up to understand logic. They are ideally set up to understand stories. It's my hope that Story Power will help us understand each other better by sharing the stories of my guests. Today, I'm talking with Stephanie Rose, and this is episode 92. Welcome, Stephanie.
Hello. I'm so glad to be here, Lucinda.
I'm really happy to talk to you again because we talked for Patreon and it was really fun. So I wanted you to tell our listeners about your Firefly Scout, your journaling. Are you writing a book? And then if not, what is the Glow meditation and any books that you want to recommend?
Well, I would love to tell everyone about Firefly Scout. It actually started as something I was just going through for myself, like reaching that point in motherhood with like my life and career and like what's next. I did the things and now I kind of feel lost. Like those major waypoints were like kind of done. And there was a lot more power to choose ahead of me. And my youngest was about 1, and I was kind of like, okay, what do I like? What do I want to do? What might the future hold? And it didn't start as this like big quest. It just was like, what next? Like out of curiosity and wanting to go towards something. And so all of that exploration ended up going into the illumination kit, which is what founded Firefly Scout. And it's about you rediscovering your glow and what lights you up. And maybe tapping into your soul's purpose, but just knowing what you really love and finding ways to have that in your day.
Right.
And that's where the Glow meditation came to be, is just a reminder to like get quiet and just know that it is in there. It might have been, kind of packed away. Some people might have, downplayed it. You didn't see its true value, but it is still in there with you. And you just have to go seek it out a little bit and, say hello and just welcome that glow back into your life.
Yes, I love that. One of my favorite quotes, which I do not have memorized, from Marianne Williamson's book, A Return to Love, was also quoted by Nelson Mandela in a speech. And part of the speech is about we are meant to shine as children do. And, sometimes as adults, I don't have children, but sometimes life just, it's like you get lost, the person got lost. And I'm sure that happens to other people as well. You get into a routine of life and uh you stop dreaming and you stop thinking about what it is you love to do, and life gets kind of boring. And yeah, so I love that. I love
Yeah,
that.
like your life kind of gets like a little bit narrower. Like the things
Mhm.
you like to do, like it just gets a lot smaller. And not that I want to live on a roller coaster of life, but like,
Right.
can I at least like raise it a little? Can I have a few more points of things?
Mhm.
I'm just
Mhm.
like truly light me up. Like when you like find yourself, like the capital S self, like that
Mhm.
beingness just tunes into that vibration of like, yes, that like you have found it, part of
Right.
it.
Right.
And, and yeah, and not wanting to settle for that just fine life. I
Yeah.
mean, it's what can keep us safe, and our minds like to tell us that,
Mhm.
but our
Mhm.
souls really want to play. And
Right. And have
that's
adventure.
yes. And so that's what I intend to like have people discover and just
Yeah.
add a little bit more into their day.
I love that. I love that. Yeah, because I can't remember where I heard this. It was probably some character in a book or a movie or something. We're meant to do more than come home, have a beer, and watch television.
Yeah. And watch other people live out their
Right.
made up lives. Like I
Their
love the
adventures.
power of story and
Mhm.
like it can be inspirational,
Mhm.
but we're not meant to just watch. We are
Right.
meant to take action and to live.
Right. Yes. So, I was thinking about you. I'm going to mention what you said in our Patreon conversation when you said you had rediscovered or discovered the morning pages that Julia Cameron talks about in uh, the name of the book flew out of my head.
The
What's the
artist's way.
Yes, The Artist's Way. Yes, my husband and I read that years ago, and we still have it. I mean, we have so many books everywhere. But that's one that would be good to go back to. So, since I talked to you, I was just scrolling through YouTube and I saw this post by Elizabeth Gilbert, and she was referring to something that she had written in Eat, Pray, Love. And it was an experience that she had written about, and she was feeling very depressed and unworthy. And so she just sat down and started writing in her journal. And it was like she got a love letter from herself to herself. And she printed that in the book. And so I went and looked at it again and I said, I don't know if I'll write a love letter to myself every day, but I think I will go back to writing in my journal every day, sort of like the morning pages from The Artist's Way. So that has been so fulfilling. So thank you so much for, you were one of the little ones that planted the seed to do
I was one of the dots that you were meant to connect to get
Right.
along your path.
Yes, exactly. Exactly. So what you just said we were talking about adventure. And so I was wondering what adventures have you discovered from your journey and creating Firefly Scout and journaling again? What adventures have you gone on or what have you
Well,
discovered?
I have certainly learned that just like raising kids, they teach you a lot about yourself. So
Mhm.
starting a personal growth minded business has also shown me a lot more about myself just in
Mhm.
a different way than
Mhm.
any other life experience has shown me. So
Mhm. Mhm.
it has found new ways to bring up my fears and motivations uh, and show me what I truly love to talk about, like what lights me up. Like
Right.
it has been like the greatest, like one of the greatest personal growth journeys or adventures
Mhm.
like
Mhm.
you could ever go on.
Mhm.
And I'm still figuring it out. I still need the reminders of the things I discovered all the way back then. And, that brings up that imposter syndrome. I'm like, who am I? Like, I'm not even following my own advice every day. How terrible is that? And like working through those stories and just knowing that like that I'm still worthy of it and I still have a great message, and knowing that like doing it perfectly doesn't really help anyone. But it's through the stumbling and the learning, and choosing to see it as an adventure, not something that's detracting from your life, but actually is showing you more, is really how I see it. So it's not like life is like one major adventure, but just seeing that it's all happening for me and not to me is a very powerful shift.
Oh, yes, that is a huge shift. Yes, I think I told you this. I've said it many times on the podcast that when I first started journaling, I was just complaining in my journal until one day I said, what am I supposed to be learning from this? Because a lot was going on in my life. And I started getting answers. And it was like just that shift in asking, or even like you said, considering the fact that maybe all the stuff that was happening to me was not happening to me, but for me. And so when I started asking, what am I supposed to be learning from this, and getting answers, oh my goodness, that changed everything for me. So it sounds like you had a very similar experience.
Yeah, like I mean, it can be just from the everyday things all the way up to the way bigger things. So just having that attitude, like shifting that vibration of yourself, of like curiosity and adventure, and just how can this be a good thing? Like, and that's not to downplay the terrible things that do happen, but I feel that each of us, our souls are here to experience human life. And that is a part of human life. And we can grow from it and we know ourselves better, and that will increase our glow.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Now, you love books that help you grow. So, do you have any books that you want to suggest?
I have a number of free resources of books I suggest for like nonfiction books for starting your journey. Uh, I'm really lately into the power of fiction books and the stories that the characters are going through and like what they can teach us or show us, and using that as a way to like get some life experience without having to go through every life experience.
Right. Yeah.
So I've been coming across some really great like women's fiction books that just have some like really poignant moments in it of like what the character overcame or like their aha moment, and kind of pausing in there and being like, well, if that was me, like would I have persevered like they did? Would I have followed that advice? Do I have a friend who would give me that tough advice, to point out maybe where you're going down the wrong way? So that has been one of the biggest teachers of things lately for me. And to support that, I've actually created a list of journaling prompts you can use with any book that you read, just to kind of like add some reflection of, like I said, like, is that how I would have solved the problem? Am I noticing ways through this that the character was blind to, or like just, and it combines like, I love reading, and then it makes it just that little bit more meaningful. So not that it's ever wasted, but it truly is like much more of like a supportive activity for me to do.
Yeah. Enriching.
It's very enriching. Yes.
Yes. So can you name a couple of books that you read?
I actually just finished one. It was called Meet Me at the Lake by Carly Fortune.
Ooh.
And it's about like a young woman who like just serendipitously meet someone and they have like a day together just exploring their city.
Mm-hmm.
And then they have some honest moments about like talking about their goals and what they're maybe afraid of doing, like some
Mm-hmm.
life choices. And they kind of give each other courage to like act on those.
Mm-hmm.
And then they're supposed to meet a year later, and surprise, they don't. But um, when they do come back together later, like they have to like talk through their fears and like realizing that some of those same fears have come up again, and they maybe have different skills to handle them this time. And
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I don't know, like there were just a lot of pieces of the book that were like gave me a lot to think about.
Yeah. Yeah, because I think sometimes people think, oh, I dealt with that issue and now I'm done. And
Correct. Yeah.
you're not done. It doesn't matter what it is. I mean, a lot of times grief is like that. People grieve at the beginning, and then they think they should be done, or other people think they should be done. And it's not, it's an ongoing process. All growth is an ongoing process.
Yeah, like you've maybe achieved understood that level, and
Mm-hmm.
now you've uncovered the next layer of the onion, and there's like
Mm-hmm.
you
Mm-hmm.
couldn't have maybe learned the whole lesson at the beginning. You needed to like go through lesson one, lesson two, like
Right. Yeah.
get to the actual like root of it,
Right. Yeah.
universal truth of it. So
Yeah. Yeah.
it's just helpful to really like for the ones that are well written, just to pull out something to be like, okay, like
Mm-hmm.
maybe I could handle it a little differently. Maybe I could be
Mm-hmm.
a little bit braver to do the thing because I see that they were able to, and it turned out okay.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
It
Yeah.
just it
Right.
helps with the unknown of life, I guess.
Yeah. I used to say to when I was teaching English, even though my degree's in theater, but I had a lot of literature credits. So, but I used to say, learning how to write an essay is sort of like learning how to, a child learning how to crawl and then walk and then, or talk. You got to do it a little bit at a time. It's not something that just happens overnight. They don't just all of a sudden stand up and start walking. It's
Exactly.
it's not like that. So I read a book recently. It was our book club group. My sister and her family lived next door to this really great couple. And we decided, I can't remember, it was about a year ago, I guess, to form a book club group. And then they brought in their friends from San Francisco. So it's this virtual group because
Oh,
they
fun.
live in the Seattle area, and the one couple lives in San Francisco and we live in Arizona. But we read this book. It's a middle grade book, and I'm with you. I read mostly books by women, but this one is by T.J. Klune, and it's called The House in the Cerulean Sea. And it's kind of like a reality adjacent to ours, but there are these people who are can be very different, have different skills, or even one of the characters is just this blob, and I don't know if you've ever seen um the Orville, the show The Orville, but there's that blob character who's an engineer. So it's sort of like that. And some of them are gnomes or pixies, or that kind of thing. And the main character works at this place called Dicamy. His name is Linus, and he is like a quality assurance kind of guy, and goes around to these orphanages where these different children are being kept. They're supposedly being protected, but of course they're also being separated from the regular everyday human. And he's a very caring person, but it's like we were talking earlier. He has this certain routine, and he just also, where he lives, it's raining all the time. So everything's dark and gloomy all the time. And the office where he works is one of those where all the desks are in a row, and you know, and but he's very caring toward the children. And I just loved he's sent on this special assignment to go to this island, the house in the Cerulean Sea. And it's when he gets there, the weather's beautiful. And, some of the children one of them is supposed to be the son of the devil, so it's like, he faints when he reads that. But it's just this really lovely story about not only his development, but how the children and the headmaster and the woman who owns the island, who is actually, I think she's a gnome too, become a family. It's like they become a family, and he realizes he can't stay in that old life anymore. So it's sort of on the same theme, but it's a middle grade book, which I love that middle grade books and teen books for teenagers, young adult fiction, are really dealing with some very adult subjects. I don't want to say adult subjects, but they're subjects that humans have to deal with. And sometimes we think, oh, it's children, they don't have any problems. Not true. I was a teacher for a long time. They have lots of problems. So yeah, so that's 2 books, everybody, 2 books. TJ,
I'm gonna look that one up for my boys because they love to listen to a lot of books that are above their reading level. And we need those powerful allegories and hero's journey type things to see that if they got through, there could be a way for me to get through. And if my eyes are open to my path and noticing what lights me up, those are the beacons to get me there. So
yeah, I loved it. And the audiobook was really great. So I just thought about it a lot because there was all this love at the end. It was just, love and accepting love. Because, sometimes Linus didn't know how to accept love. Or even the fact that he was a loving person. He didn't know how to accept that. So yeah, that was really great. Well, yeah, that's what I agree with you about fiction, because for years, even when I was a child, our family would discuss the stories that we were watching or that we were reading. And we were, my parents were asking us questions. What did you think about this? And why did this character do that? And, so yeah, I agree with you.
It raises your ceiling, your ability to dream and your possibility. So, and I like reading my share of nonfiction as well, but that just feel like that more builds your foundation and strengthens that. But that fiction, the stories just let you take off from there.
Yeah. Imagination. Using your imagination. Yeah. I love it. So I am going to put all of your social media links in the show notes for this episode. Do you have anything else you want to say before we go?
I would just love for people to as a takeaway from our conversation, just take that minute to get quiet with yourself. If it's the moment before kid pickup or before you walk in the door or in the shower, just anywhere you can just get a moment and get quiet, and don't be afraid to get quiet. And then just feel into your heart and start to get curious what it has to say, what it has to let you know. And if you are someone who wants to try journaling, I have a guide that follows that Artist Way method, but get it out that way. Take a walk with yourself and talk it out with yourself. Just find ways, or start making lists of little things that catch your attention, light you up, little quirky things, and just start noticing you.
Yeah.
And then
Make a bucket list.
Yeah. But one from your heart, not because other
Right.
people
Right.
tell
Yeah.
you should.
Right. I can't remember what it was the other night. Barry and I were talking, that's my husband, and he goes, "Oh, I'm going to put that on my bucket list, even if I never go there." I was like, well, "Why are you putting that on your bucket list?"
But it could be like a sign to something, maybe even explore, like daring to say you want to do that will
Right.
actually get you on that path to where you truly want to
Mhm.
go. But if where you
Yeah.
truly want to go was revealed right away, you might
Yes.
not do it. It might hit too close to home. You'll be too scared. So like,
Right. Yeah, because you can always revise your bucket list.
yes, yeah.
Yeah,
But
right.
just trust those feelings. So it's like
Mhm,
if he
mhm,
really wants to go there, like figure out, you know,
mhm.
maybe a way to do it. You never know.
Yes, right. Yeah, because I think one of my guests said, our educational system was set up to teach people how to work in factories, not how to dream or explore ideas or because I used to tell both my college students and my high school students, this is your time to explore, to find out
Yeah.
who you are and what do you want to do. And you don't have to know right away. It's try stuff out, try different things and see what lights you up, what you enjoy. So that's what it's sad, unfortunately, that our educational system is so outdated. But, encouraging children to read, man, that's,
Yeah.
yeah, that helps them
Yeah.
dream.
Yeah. My soul journey purpose is to really inspire people to dream, to
Right.
take some aligned action toward it and just feel a little bit lighter because they're
Hmm. Hmm.
pursuing it.
Yeah, because everything's so heavy right now.
Unfortunately, and if you don't have dreams to hold on to, it can really crush you. But if you
Hmm.
have that dream, that purpose, that heart driven
Hmm.
way of showing up and taking action,
Hmm.
that is how we will change the world.
Hmm. Really. Yeah, exactly. Loving
Yeah.
ourselves and learning to forgive. And you can't do that if you don't dream.
Yep.
Yeah, I love it. I love that. Well, I know you're very busy. So thank you so much for being my guest, Stephanie. I really enjoy our conversations.
I know. It's such a delight to get to talk with you again. Thank you, Lucinda.
Okay, we'll see you again, hopefully sometime soon.
Yeah. Thank you.
Bye bye. I hope you enjoyed the show. If you like what you heard, please share it with a friend and give us a rating and/or review on your favorite podcast app. It will help people find us. I invite you to join my Patreon community at patreon.com/storypower, all one word. Or if you like, you can subscribe to Story Power on Apple Podcasts. It's my aim to build a community where we discuss the stories we love and talk about what we learned from them. I offer extra audio content and story suggestions to my patrons on both platforms. Remember, as Philip Pullman said, after nourishment, shelter, and companionship, stories are the thing we need most in the world. Let's spread the story love. Until next time, this is Lucinda Sage-Midgorden. Thanks for listening.